So the Washington Wizards did one of the coolest things that I can remember in the NBA, as they wore all black to commemorate the funeral of the Boston Celtics in a game in frickin' late January against two teams that aren't even at the top of their conferences. And they blew out the Celtics, or at least they beat them by 15 or 20 points or whatever. And I think it should be noted at this point, the Wizards have really done a good job of turning around their season as of right now. They're 25-20, and it was pretty rough early on, man. They were losing, not playing any defense, and it seemed like a team that could go south fast, but the talent has won over. They've also just turned a new leaf in terms of effort and defense, and now I think the question with the Wizards is, how good can they be? Are they a scary team in the Eastern Conference for everybody not named the Cavaliers? Because, they just beat up the Celtics last night, and we've seen the Raptors and the sort of disappointments they've had in the playoffs. Even if they made the conference finals against the Cavs last year, they still got pushed to the brink by the Pacers in round one, and we can talk about it. So the first thing to talk about with these guys, it always starts with John Wall, who is definitely a top 20 player, probably even a top 15 player if you really start thinking about it. With what he can do in terms of attacking the basket and making plays. Wall for the season, 23 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds. Efficient from the field. The three-point shot has been kind of a non-factor outside of the first month. But with how much he attacks the rim, I don't think it matters too much. One thing I do notice about Wall is his pull-up mid-range is working out more this season. He's shooting 41% from mid-range, and a lot of that comes from him being in the pick and roll, getting to the elbow, and then taking advantage of the opposing big man backing up because he's John Wall and you don't want him to attack inside. That happened last night against the Celtics quite a bit, where Kelly Olynyk was in a spot where Wall just pulled up on him and he really couldn't do anything about it. And then, of course, John dunked on him later in the game, just to add some disrespect to it. So that's a really good thing with Wall. The three-pointer is going to come and go. He's managed to get up to 35%, I think last season or the year before or whatever. I wouldn't rely on his three-point shot, but he's so good at other things it really doesn't matter. And then, of course, there's the playmaking, which he's so effective at. If you want to bring any help defense on him, he's going to see the open guy, as he is averaging 10 assists, like I mentioned, and he's been one of the best passers in the league for quite a long time at this point. And I did a thing once where I looked and I saw that he's on pace to being I think top 10 in assists all time or whatever if he has a decently lengthy career. Wall's just a beast. In transition, he's also great. If this team gets a turnover and he's anywhere near the ball, you might as well just put 2 points on the board, whether it's from him scoring or someone else in the offense receiving a pass from him. But it should also be noted that Bradley Beal has been awesome as well. In the month of January, Bradley Beal is putting up 22 points, 46 from the field, 38% from three, while taking about 7 threes a game, so he's very effective from outside. 4 free throws a game where he shoots about 86% from the line. This is in the month of January. And his stats for the season are not too far off from what I just mentioned. And the way the Wizards run their offense, I would say 70% of it is either John Wall pick and rolls, John Wall isolations, or Bradley Beal off-ball movement. But when you have two guys in your backcourt that are this good when it comes to scoring and commanding so much attention from the defense, it definitely works. And Beal, he has some ability with the ball in his hand. He's averaging 4 assists in the month of January as well. Actually, he's averaging 4 assists for the season. So he's able to do enough playmaking when John Wall doesn't have it himself. And one thing I've actually liked about Scott Brooks' offense is they've been using Bradley Beal's off-ball movement to get shots for other guys. And what I mean by that is they'll run a floppy set where Beal will get 2 screens. He'll get it from Gortat as well as Markieff Morris. And then if Beal is not open on the initial movement, then Markieff Morris immediately turns it into his own floppy set where I think either Beal screens for him or they do something, but he ends up actually getting open shots out of it a lot of the time. They did that a couple of times against the Celtics last night, and it was it's a nice creative play. If the initial play is not there, they have something else they can go to. And I should mention Markieff Morris at this point because he's actually really stepping up in January. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 49 from the field, 37% from 3. And the big one, above all that, is he's given a crap on defense. Because Markieff Morris has the potential to be a very good defender, given that he's 6'10 and he has some nice athleticism. But he's always been kind of inconsistent on that side of the floor. Some nights he'll be really versatile and he can move well, and he's someone who can really be smothering opposing power forwards or sometimes opposing small forwards. But then other times he just looks lazy. But he's been damn good defensively lately for the Wizards, moving around the floor well, defending pick and rolls, pick and pops. But then the offense has been awesome as well. I mean, if you're shooting 37% from 3 as a power forward who also shows some ability of putting the ball on the floor, as he's also averaging about 2 assists in the month of January, it makes it really damn difficult to defend because it gives John Wall a pick and pop option. It gives him a pick and roll option as well, because I mentioned Morris has some nice athleticism when it comes to rolling to the rim. So his improvement has been a big part of what they've been able to do. And of course, he can also be someone where if you want to provide help off of the John Wall and Marcin Gortat pick and roll, or John Wall or Bradley Beal driving, Morris can knock down a shot. So when the power forward is someone that you can't help off of, it makes it a lot tougher to defend a backcourt as good as this one. And to show you more versatility of Morris's offense, he's shooting 62% at the rim this season, so he's doing it from inside, and he's been doing it from outside lately. Can he maintain the outside shot? I am a little skeptical because he's never really been a consistent three-point shooter, but as of right now, he is making them, and it's definitely helping them out. Marcin Gortat is averaging, 11 and 11 on the season. His pick and roll relationship with John Wall has just been very good for a long time, and you could say that really is the foundation of their offense. Luckily, the Bradley Beal off-ball stuff has developed a bit more this season, but still, I mean, Gortat is a very good screener. He shoots 66% at the rim, and he's also shooting 41% from mid-range, having attempted 58 this season. So that's something you have to pay attention to too. That's a little over 1 mid-range jumper a game. And then of course we need to mention Otto Porter, who is one of the most efficient players in the NBA this season. 53% from the field, 46% from 3, 14 points, 7 rebounds. What Otto Porter does for you offensively, even though he can't really force the issue for himself in terms of ball handling and playing in the pick and roll, his shooting is just so damn good that the spacing he provides for you, it gives John Wall so much room to operate. And if John Wall is doing a pick and roll with Marcin Gortat, and then he has Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, and Markieff Morris all knocking down their outside shots, how the hell are you going to defend that? I mean, you might have to switch it, and then you got John Wall on a big man or Gortat able to post up on a point guard. It's tough stuff. But that's the starting 5 for you, which has always been pretty good for Washington. But I think another thing that's been huge for them is the emergence of Kelly Oubre, who has never really come on in his NBA career as being a consistent minutes guy, but also in the month of January, because that seems to be the golden month for this Wizards team. Kelly Oubre, in 23 minutes, he is averaging about 8 points a game, 4 rebounds, 46 from the field, 42% from 3, which is awesome. Oubre just seems like a guy who can fit into an offense really well. If the outside jumper is falling and he's able to run in transition and just know where to be offensively to play off of Wall and Beal and whoever else, that's really all you need. And I think that's the huge thing for this Wizards team, is they've really found themselves a sixth man, because the minutes difference between the starters and the second unit is a little alarming for this team, as all of their starters are over 30 minutes, which is kind of to be expected. But Kelly Oubre, with his recent minutes, is now up to 19.9 minutes a game this season, so they've really been trusting their starting 5 a lot. So to have a sixth man like Oubre who can come in and do more for them, that is good. And given that all 5 of their starters are playing well at the moment, that does help you when it comes to surviving a not as good second unit, because you can have like 2 of your starters in the game at all times because they're all playing well. I think one thing that should be mentioned is that Ian Mahinmi, who is injured at the moment for them, is a very good backup defensive big man. And if he's able to get back to at least being healthy, although it's going to be a while, apparently he's not going to be back until like March, then you could have like 7 quality players on this roster. They could be a really scary team for a team like the Celtics, who's having defensive issues, and a team like the Raptors, who, for whatever frickin' reason, just always decide to have a little bit of stage fright in the playoffs. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again this year, but they do have a history at this point. I think the Wizards could be down to make a trade, perhaps for a backup point guard who can help out the playmaking when John Wall's not in the game, or maybe a knockdown shooter at the wing, or just something. One other guy, because if you could have your starting 5, Kelly Oubre, Ian Mahinmi, hopefully being healthy, and then one other guy, that gives you 8 real players who can do something for you in the playoffs. Yeah, I'd be scared of them if I wasn't the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference, because you could make the argument that against both the Celtics and the Raptors, John Wall might be the best player on the floor for both of those series. But then again, I think we also should note that this Wizards team did struggle early on in the season, especially on the defensive side of the floor, so I don't think we should be crowning them immediately. They might have another drop-off because it is a long season, but as of right now, it's going really well, and if they can continue this momentum and the bench can keep it up, specifically Kelly Oubre, and then they could perhaps make a trade, it could be pretty scary.